Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about Jesus walks on water. We find this on Matthew chapter 14 verses 22 up to 33. Welcome to my channel Word of Wisdom, where we read the Word, Bible studies, inspirational talks, motivational talks, everything pertaining God's Word, which is the Bible we talk about. Let's read Mark chapter 6 verses 45 up to 52 and John chapter 6 verses 16 up to 21. Imagine being caught in a storm in the middle of the sea, and suddenly you see someone walking towards you on the water. Sound impossible, right? But for Jesus, nothing is impossible. Today we will dive into one of the amazing and one of the most inspiring miracles in the Bible. Jesus walking on water. And we will discover what this meant for our faith today. This miracle takes place right after another one. The feeding of 5,000 people, according to Matthew chapter 14 verse 22. Immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side of the sea, while he dismissed the crowd. Actually, Jesus wanted time alone to pray. That's true. He went up on a mountain side while the disciples sailed across the Sea of Galilee. Later that night, he was alone. Night falls over the sea. Storm clouds gather. But as the disciples rowed, a storm rolled in. John chapter 6 verse 18 tells us about a strong wind which was blowing, and the waters grew rough in the sea. It was tough. They were so terribly shaken by this storm. Disciples struggling in the boat because of the wind. Jesus appears on the water in the darkest hour of the night. In the darkest hour of the night, sometime between 3 and 6 a.m., known as the fourth watch, Jesus comes to them walking on the water. Whoa! Let's read Matthew 14, verse 25. The disciples were terrified. And in Matthew 14:26, it says, when the disciples saw him walking on the water, what happened? When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. Yes, I will be terrified too. A human being walking on water, not sinking. For us as human beings, it's impossible. They thought it's a ghost. They said and cried out of fear. But Jesus immediately comforts them. Matthew chapter 14 verse 26 says, when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. Yes, I would be terrified too. Matthew chapter 14 verse 27. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage. It's me. Don't be afraid. That was better. And here is a powerful part. Peter, always bold, says, Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water. We get it on Matthew chapter 14, verse 28. Peter then steps out. He actually walks on water until he notices the wind and waves and begins to sink. Just imagine, sinking right in the lake, in the belly of the water. Matthew chapter 14, verses 30 to 31, which says, "But when he saw the wind," listen carefully, "he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, 'Lord, save me.' Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him." What a relief. "And said, 'You of a little faith, why did you doubt?'" Yes. Let's talk. How often do we start out strong in faith, only to sink in fear when life's storms get loud? How many times? Peter's story mirrors ours. Yes. He was walking in faith, but fear distracted him. The moment his eyes moved from Jesus to the storm, he began to sink. But notice something beautiful. Jesus didn't let him drown. He immediately reached out and saved him. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Wow, such a wonderful words. Very good indeed. When Jesus and Peter got back in the boat, the storm stopped. A sigh of relief. Matthew chapter 14 verse 32 says, "When they climbed into the boat, the wind stopped." The disciples were overwhelmed with worship. Matthew chapter 14 verse 33 says, "Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, 'Truly you are the Son of God.'" So what does this story mean for us? When we are facing storms in our lives, fear, doubt, hardship, Jesus comes to us. He walks above the waves. He speaks peace into our panic. And even when our faith falters, he reaches out and saves us. Read Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. It reminds us to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. So keep your eyes on him, no matter the storm. Thanks for watching. If this message encouraged you, like, share, comment, and subscribe for more Bible-based content. And remember, with Jesus, even the impossible becomes possible. God bless you all. Bye.